Yo guys, it's your boy Hybrid Hit Squad and we're back again with another football commentary style video. And in this video we're coming away from the Premier League again. And this one is I'm talking about why I think or how I think Juventus will rebuild over the next few seasons, and how even though they've had a terrible start to the season, how they have still got one of the best squads in Italy, and overall still a very strong squad that can hold up against a majority of teams at a high European level. Obviously, they had just brought Max Allegri back this season after sacking Sarri for winning the league and then sacking Andrea Pirlo. I mean, Allegri's been out of a job since he last left Juventus, and he left on a high. He'd done the right thing. You could see that the rot was already starting to set in, and it was the same thing. I think what I believe Juventus done that Chelsea done with Frank Lampard, that I touched on in a previous video, that when you hire a manager like Frank Lampard, Pirlo, or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Mikel Arteta, they're hiring them off potential. When you're hiring a manager like that, you're almost accepting that you're not going to challenge for major honours in the next season, 2 seasons, possibly 3, because you're hiring based off potential. So then when you're a year into that project and you sack them, for me, it's more a reflection of you as a club and you as a management structure, that you've started a project, or started what you think was a project that you wanted to do, and then a year in you've cut your ties. I think it's just poor management and poor senior management, in my opinion. Anyway, but nonetheless, it worked out for Chelsea in their favour. They went on to hire Tuchel in the Champions League, and are now should be challenging for the Premier League this season. But who's to say the same couldn't be happening for Juventus? Of course, they've had a terrible start to the season. I don't believe they've won a game. They drew their first game and then lost their second. They lost second and third game. But overall, Maximiliano Allegri is still a quality manager, and is part of the reason why Juventus was so dominant in Italy. And he's going to be hoping that he can take them back to those heights. And they've got a strong 11, so maybe they can. Starting in goal, they've got Szczesny. You know, Szczesny, has he got a mistake in him? Yep. Has he improved much since Arsenal? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. He was alright at Arsenal. He was alright. Done his thing at Roma. And Juventus has been solid as well, but he's not. It's Serie A, It's not as intense as the Spanish League, the German League, the Premier League. It's just not. You're not going to be facing as many shots. You're not going to be asked to play out of the back under such pressure that you would be in Germany or England, even Spain. But yeah, he's a serviceable a goalkeeper, Serie A level for sure. And they still have Szczesny in goal. They're going to have Sandro at left back, another solid player, really quick, technically solid as well, good pass on him, decent delivery as well, on crosses, decent delivery, and is also in a position where he's pretty established in the squad, I believe. Like Szczesny, his spot is pretty established. I think the only reason why someone like Sandro would miss out, it would be down to rotation or injury worries. But when everyone's fit, Alexandro is definitely the starting left back. And then they've got a centre back partnership of course, Bonucci and Chiellini. And this is an interesting one because, of course, both of these guys are really, really aging, and I think Italy might be the only league where you could get away with this. They've got, like we saw in Italy at the Euros, they've got a really good understanding of each other, of course. Naturally, of course they are. A really good understanding. They're both physical defenders. Don't mind putting one on. Don't mind putting one on a striker. They'll make them know that they know they're there. In terms of pace, of course, they're not going to be as quick as your Kurt Zumas or your Ben Whites, or whoever, or even Virgil van Dijk's. Not going to be as quick as them, of course. But they're in a much slower league. They're not going to be asked to need to run as much as those guys because they're in a more physical, fast-paced league. But ultimately, they're going to need new centre backs eventually. You're not going to keep relying on these two players who are over 30 for the next 5 years. You're just not. Of course, they've got De Ligt as well. In his first season, I believe he got bought 2 summers ago. In his first 2 seasons, he's been incredibly mistake prone. Honestly, I mean, so many mistakes. He's given away penalty after penalty, handball after handball. It was almost ridiculous, and that's why Bonucci and Chiellini have come back into the squad. I think personally, because De Ligt is so mistake prone, but on the ball he's solid. He's a good passer of the ball. He's probably better than Bonucci and Chiellini. But at the end of the day, you're a defender. You need to be able to defend. Being able to pass good is fine, but you're a centre back. You need to be able to defend, and he's not great at that at the moment. That being said, he should be understudies for Bonucci and Chiellini, and they should be teaching him these sorts of things. So when Chiellini or Bonucci leave in a year's time, 2 years' time even, maybe, then you're going to have De Ligt ready to step in. And he's already been with the squad as well. So I think De Ligt will only get better. But at the moment, he's not one of the 2 best centre-backs in the team. Right back, we move on to Cuadrado. Another solid fullback, just like Alexandro. I think quite similar, probably a bit better than Alexandro, to be fair to him. But Cuadrado, really good on the ball, just like Sandro. Nice delivery, really quick. Like I said, I don't think the fullbacks are the issue with Juventus. They're not the reason why they're battling relegation at the moment. They're not the reason why they haven't won a game this season. I think they've got a couple of issues with injuries as well. I mean, obviously, in this lineup that I'm showing now, this is best case scenario when everyone's fit. When everyone's fit. So then we'll go into the midfield, where we've got Weston McKennie, who I think is a real talent. But at the same time, I think this, of course, naturally going from Schalke to Juventus, it's naturally quite the step up. You can't hold him against him. He's not. He's only young, I think. I think he's only 23, 24, if that. He's a young player. So you can't really hold it against him. And he's been thrust straight into the first team. Obviously, I don't think players like Arthur or even Aaron Ramsey, they're not really even getting into the team. And they've got more experience than McKennie, but I think McKennie's good. I think he's physical presence, more physical than the other 2, I believe. Maybe even got a higher work rate as well. Decent on the ball. I wouldn't say that's his strength. I think the other 2 midfielders are better on the ball than him, but I think he's probably, in my opinion, probably the workman of the midfield. I think, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You need players that be able to do that, and he's able to do that. And he's a signing that I can only see getting better for Juventus. And I hope it works out for him. I hope that Allegri and Juventus don't give up on him and they persist with him, because ultimately Juventus are going to need players like Weston McKennie, in my opinion. Young players that come in, that are stepping up, and you need to give them a chance to actually step up. So having him in and out of the first team, obviously take him out of the first 11 when needed for rotation and to prevent injury, and if he's under a lot of scrutiny, take him out of the spotlight for a bit. But overall, he needs to be pretty consistently in and around that first team. We then go on to Locatelli, who I think was a great signing for them. Obviously was in talks, or allegedly in preliminary talks with Arsenal for a move, but that was probably just how it's just probably just Arsenal being used as a agent move to drum up a bit of a bidding war that was always going to result in Juventus winning. But Locatelli's a hell of a player. They bought him from Sassuolo, I'm going to say. Yeah, I think they bought him from Sassuolo. Hell of a passer, And at Serie A, when you're going to have more time in the midfield, generally it's a slower pace. This is Locatelli's bread and butter. This is what he's come up through. He's come up through the Italian league. Great passer of the ball and able to dictate play. And I'm expecting a really good season for him as well. We then go on to Adrien Rabiot, who they got from PSG. A player that I really like as well. Not a fan of his attitude, but I think that's, at this level, pretty much everyone's got those. Not everyone actually. There's plenty of players that don't. I shouldn't say that, but it's almost part and parcel at this level. You kind of expect some players to at least have those sorts of issues, but whatever issues he may have off the pitch, he doesn't bring them onto the pitch because he's a terrific player. And that goes without saying at this point. Really, he's established in the game. He's won league after league at PSG. He came in to Juve. He walked straight into their first team without a shadow of a doubt for me. And is a really well-rounded midfielder in my opinion. Can do it all. Defensively, at times can be a bit. Can fall asleep at times. I think maybe. At times I think he might fall asleep and lacks maybe that concentration for 90 minutes to be that defensive midfielder, but I don't think he'll be asked to play that position. Because I think if I know that, then Allegri probably knows that too. I think he's really well rounded. I think he's capable. He's definitely capable of being defensively aware, and we show that. And it shows that he's able to intercept the ball, move the ball on. He's an okay ball carrier. I wouldn't say that's one of his strong suits necessarily, but he's capable to do that as well. But yeah, we go on to the front three. We've got at left wing Bernardeschi. Bernardeschi is a player that I mean, pretty much this whole front three I'm really high on at the moment. But Bernardeschi, especially a player that I really like. Really good ball carrier. I think he's probably the best ball carrier in the team. I'm gonna say, best ball carrier. Maybe the best bit. Technically, yeah. By default, that makes him the best dribbler. In my opinion, I think. I think he brings a lot to the team. I think he's pretty much the only left winger. I mean, even then, he's not an out-and-out left winger. He sometimes plays attacking midfielder, number 10 position down the middle, but they don't really have a left winger. And like I said, they don't really have a left winger. And Bernardeschi's going to play there, and he's going to play really well because he's a really good player. Nonetheless, we then go to the right wing, where we've got another player that, like I said, I'm really high on, Federico Chiesa, who is a player they got from Fiorentina, I believe. A player that I'm a big fan of, big fan of. I think he's a brilliant player, a really good Euros as well. He's a winger that can do it all. He can send balls into the box, he can get a past a man, he's pretty quick, and he's got a decent eye for goal for a winger in Serie A. I think he's got a decent eye for goal as well. So I'm excited to see how he'll do under Allegri as well. And then up front, Juventus, they're not really sport for choice. Morata, who for some reason keeps getting these big moves to these big clubs, somehow keeps getting these big moves to these big clubs. But for the time being, we've got Moise Kean up front, and Moise Kean's a player that I'm really high on. Honestly, I really am. I think it didn't work out for him at Everton. He wasn't really given a chance, to be fair, and maybe rightfully so, because he's not better than Calvert-Lewin at this time. Let's make no mistake about it. He's not better than Calvert-Lewin, and he's not better than Richarlison either. And I don't think he's that clinical either. But at PSG, I think he's one of the most improved players in Europe last season. One of the most improved players out at PSG. And you say it's at PSG, yeah, it is at PSG, where you're going to have majority of the ball, you're going to be creating all the chances, and he's going to be getting enough chances to finish off, and he should get goals, which on paper should be the exact same scenario at Juventus, where he should be up front. Juventus should be dominating the games that they're in, and he should be getting chances to score. At Everton, when you're a team that's wanting to be that, Everton aren't going out and dominating teams. Everton aren't creating chance after chance for Moise Kean. It's not happening. But at Juventus, that's what should be happening. Clearly, it hasn't been in the first 3 games at least, but that's what should be. But yeah, that's Moise Kean I'm really high on, and that attack I think is a really good attack. It's easily the best attack in Serie A at the moment, and it's one of the best midfields as well. The defense and goalkeeper could be a bit shaky, but when they've got 2 serviceable fullbacks, an acceptable keeper, and two very experienced centre backs. You know, you can't complain. They're underachieving at the moment, but without a shadow of a doubt, I think they've got enough depth in that first 11 and in their first squad. I think on the bench, who they're going to have? They're going to have Daniele Rugani, De Ligt, Aaron Ramsey, Alvaro Morata, Pellegrini. There's some decent players on that bench that can come in and challenge as well. I mean, Aaron Ramsey could come in and challenge. He's been terrible at Juventus. To be fair to him, he's been terrible, but nonetheless, maybe he could turn it around, because we know he's a good player there, but he's 30 now, so he's not getting any younger. But still, he can do his thing. So let's go through the starting 11 just one more time now. So in goal, we've got Wojciech Szczesny. Left back, Sandro. Centre backs, Bonucci, Chiellini. Right back, Cuadrado. Central midfielders of Weston McKennie, Locatelli and Rabiot. Then up front, we've got Bernardeschi left wing, Chiesa right wing, and Moise Kean up front. So, if you think that Allegri will be playing a different tactic, or if you think I've missed out some players that you would start if you were a Juventus manager, make sure to let me know in the comments. And if there's any other teams that you think I could make a video on, make sure you let me know in the comments as well. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you don't want to miss out on more videos just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's been your boy, Hyper Hit Squad, and I'm out. Peace.